And because of him, in that estate, we've done over 14 houses. We've done a lot. Some of our most memorable projects. I was looking at putting a plus on the project. The government official that came to inspect said, "Oga, instead of doing that thing you want to do, give us the money." And I was like, I'm trying to add something of more benefit to this. And what you are interested in is money. We've done a lot, we did one recently. That was about 3 years ago in Akwa Ibom State. And it was one of my repeat clients. I think that should be about the 5th project we've done for him. And I wanted to build an institution, technical school for the oil and gas. And we had there warehouses, workshop, name it, admin block, classrooms, hostels, security quarters, and the land was massive. Road network, drainages. And he approached me. I said, "No problem. We'll do it for you." And we went in. When you enter into a vast bush, it's not really easy. You have challenges of, that's another thing that we deal with, thefts, crime. You need to contend with that sometimes on construction sites. And we embarked on the project. It taxed us different aspects, the design aspect of it, and all that. We went into that project. All the standards that were required, make sure we stuck to them. We had people that came to inspect because it was peculiar to, because they needed to pass some certification, right, for them to have that institution function. And the certification is not a local certification. It's one that needed, they had, I think they call it IATA, maybe I pronounced it well, right? They have a body like that. So they had this expatriate that was coming into the country occasionally to come and inspect and check to see that what we were doing was according to spec. And it was interesting. Whenever the man came, in fact, he said, probably in either West Africa or Africa, they had not seen anything like this. And as we went through that project, we finished it successfully. They granted him the certification. So to us, it's a joy that we could meet that kind of specification, and then the person gets what he wanted, and which is one of the driving forces of our work. When somebody comes to us and has a dream, mine is to see how we can bring that dream to realization. So that's one of the memorable projects we've done. Another one that is notable for me is that we had a client. We built his house in Port Harcourt. Yes, you say normal house. But like I told some people, I said, the normal thing you see is that somebody building in Nigeria will say, "I brought a construction company from Lagos to come and build for me in Port Harcourt, or build for me in Abia State, or build for me in Kano State." That's the normal thing you see. Mine was the reverse. Because of what we did for this man in Port Harcourt, was to build in Lagos. He was the first person. Now, I grew up in Lagos, so it's not say Lagos, but as for construction, I started in Port Harcourt. So he was the first person that brought us back to Lagos. And he was transferred to Lagos. He was one of the regional managers in one of the oil companies. And as I was transferred back to Lagos, he called me and said, "Dele, I want to build in Lagos and I need you to build." He brought us back here. Now, that for me, that was a milestone. Till today, I'm grateful to him because he gave us the break to come back into Lagos. He had the confidence in us. He had the trust in us. We did the design. We did the construction. The estate then was just starting out, right? Like I mentioned yesterday, that was Royal Garden Estate then. It was just starting out. And we're one of the first to get into that estate. And because of him, in that estate, we've done over 14 houses, if I can remember, as at last count, in just that singular estate. And that's because one person dared to believe in us. So that's another project I'll say was pretty memorable and a milestone project for us. So there are lots we've done. We've done, like you said, we've done health center. In fact, that center is also very memorable. That was the River State government. They wasn't given to us directly, but we executed it. And I remember before we started, they told us to go and see the other estate that was built. There was one not too far from where I was staying. They said I should go and look at it. And I went. Taking you back to where I said 3 months, the thing's already falling apart. And I got there. They said the thing was just commissioned, I think, about 6 months ago. I got there, I saw the doors, and I asked, I said, what do you tell me to go and see in that place? I was wondering. So, no problem. They gave us ours. Ours was our Umukushi. They gave us ours. The community, because everybody's skeptical, so they assumed we are like just the run of the mill. Everybody would do the same thing. So they were monitoring us we tried with a microscope. I said, that's nothing, no problem, don't worry yourself. And we began to execute the project according to the design. They had someone who was a representative on our side. As we were going on doing all within, the man traveled, they sent him. He traveled to other health centers. He came back and said, no, what we are doing different from what I've seen in other places. Completely different. We were executing it. I looked at the drawing and I said, we can improve on this. We were doing it and I told them, I said, we can do something a bit better here. And I made a suggestion. And I said, we could put this here and do it. The government official that came to inspect said, okay, instead of doing that thing you want to do, give us the money. I was looking at putting a plus on the project, that this will better the project. But they were saying, no, don't bother. Now imagine I was somebody that wanted to do things, cut corners. I would just play along. And I was like, I'm trying to add something of more benefit to this. And what you are interested in is money. I said, no, I was disappointed. But we went ahead, we delivered the project. It was a solid bit. Today the structure is still there. So those are some of the, we've done a lot. We've done offices for companies, different kind of things. Oil companies, individuals. We've done a lot for different people. So we enjoy working in different terrains. Even now we're working in, I would say, a kind of challenging terrain somewhere in Ikoyi here. And it's been an experience for us. In fact, when we finish that project, it will be one of my most memorable projects, because we met some kind of things in the ground. The piling method that was initially used didn't work out. We had to stop the piling contractor. We got a bigger equipment. We were able to scale through our piling. And it's picking up now. But like I said, when we finish that one, I'm going to say a lot about that. A lot of experience being gained there. We also have Deeper Life High School, Port Harcourt. We did a lot of projects there. Now it was just starting. Then from nowhere, we had several buildings to do for them: hostel, multipurpose hall. The multipurpose hall was on 1,800 square meters, if I can remember very well. And we also had the classroom blocks. We had the library, several projects. And today, if you go there, those structures are still standing there. So Abuja, like you mentioned, we did project in Abuja. Good. Abuja too was interesting. Abuja was interesting. I remember when Abuja was interesting. And I will say a few things about that. When we started the project, they did the design. But if you know Abuja, Abuja is hilly. That's sharp slopes. So no one planned that there will be a basement. But when we began to run the building and we ran the slope, so that the slope is more than 3 meters drop. So along the line, a basement was introduced, and we went ahead, did the design. So you can imagine that kind of change. We're consulting with them, the design, the back and forth, introduced the basement, had the multipurpose hall. On top of the multipurpose hall again, we had another open hall on third floor on top. And I remember we having to roof that building. If you know the winds in Abuja, the winds are something else. But God helped us, we got a very good team. And despite, because around us there's no building, you as far as your eye can see. I can imagine that kind of place. No, it's very windy and high up there. But we got a good team. God helped us. We were able to get it roofed, and the structure is still there today, solidly built, and they're very happy. So we've tackled a lot. Engineering is such that when you meet challenges, you look for solutions to the challenges, and you move on. So that's what makes it a thing of joy for me. We meet the challenges and we solve them and move on.